Folks, she doesn't fall for your words. She falls for your energy. Let's be real. Most men are out here auditioning, over-text, over-explain, and try to prove they're different. They show their hand too early, chase clarity, and then wonder why she goes cold, why the spark fades, or why she suddenly treats them like just another nice guy. I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to wake you up. That Sigma vibe women talk about isn't a costume. It's quiet gravity. It's the calm pressure you create when you don't need approval, you don't rush for attention, and you don't beg the moment to turn into something. In this video, I'll break down the psychological switches that make a woman start seeing you as the man with options, not loud, not desperate, just centered. We're talking stillness, selective attention, silence that builds tension, and the kind of restraint that makes her lean in without you pushing. Stick with me because the last principle flips everything. She stops evaluating you and starts feeling pulled toward you fast instead tonight. And here's the part most guys miss. This isn't manipulation, it's self-mastery. Stoicism in real life, where your discipline becomes your attraction. If you want more content right now, because the next 10 minutes will change how you carry yourself around women. Let's get into it. Number 1. Why she feels your energy. First, folks, energy is the first language attraction speaks. Before she hears your story or reads your intentions, she feels your state. Calm reads as strength. Neediness reads as noise. Presence reads as safety and tension at the same time. Here's the hard truth most men miss. You can say the right things and still repel if your inner pace is frantic. Women read nervous systems. They sense whether you're centered or chasing approval. That signal lands instant long before logic gets involved. Take Mark, 54, a regional sales director in Denver, and Claire, 49, a non-profit executive. Mark liked Claire and tried to impress her. Longer texts, quick replies, explaining. Claire smiled, but something felt off. When Mark slowed down, stopped performing and showed up, grounded, her posture changed. She leaned in. Energy shifted. That's because attraction responds to regulation, not effort. A regulated man doesn't outcomes. He listens fully. He moves at his own tempo. This creates a subtle pull because it signals options and self-trust. When your energy, her body relaxes while her interest sharpens. Stoic discipline trains this. You focus on what you control, your breath, your posture, your attention. You stop leaking urgency. Instead of trying to win reactions, you embody direction. That inner order is felt as masculine clarity, not arrogance. Mark didn't change his words. He changed his frame. He answered when it made sense. He ended conversations cleanly. He didn't hover. Claire noticed. She began asking questions, testing closeness, offering time. Nothing was forced. The shift came from energy, not tactics. My friend, if you feel overlooked, check your pace. If you feel anxious, slow your body first. Energy leads behavior. When your state is calm and self-directed, she experiences you as rare. Rare creates desire without noise. This is why Sigma presence isn't loud. It's contained. You don't announce value, you carry it. You don't chase certainty. You allow space. Space lets her feel, imagine, and choose. That choice is the hook. Here's a practical reset you can use today. Before seeing her, slow your breathing. Drop your shoulders. Decide you'll be fine either way. During the interaction, listen more than you speak. End on your terms. Leave a little unsaid. Energy follows decisions, not lines. When you master energy, everything else simplifies. Texting becomes light, touch becomes natural, silence becomes comfortable, and attraction starts before you try. Energy also protects you. It keeps you from over-investing before interest is real. When you stay centered, you watch actions instead of chasing promises. You let time reveal intent. That patience reads as confidence, because it is confidence. You are not waiting. You are moving forward, regardless. Women feel that motion and adjust. That adjustment shows up as softer tone, closer proximity, and warmer eye contact. None of that is forced. It emerges when your state invites it. Control the inside and the outside follows. This is the foundation everything else sits on. Without it, techniques crumble. If this hits, claim it blent with I hold frame. It's a reminder to yourself first. Stick with me because next we'll break down stillness, and how doing less makes her lean closer without pressure. Stay tuned for the shift that changes everything, the quiet power of stillness that flips attraction without effort, games or overthinking, and shows you how less action creates more pull every time when you stay grounded in real situations. With women today. 2. Stop impressing, start pulling. Folks, impressing is loud, pulling is quiet. Let's be real. When you try to impress, you place yourself below her judgment. You perform, explain, and seek approval. When you pull, you create gravity without effort. One chases reactions, the other sets direction. Most men were taught to impress. Be interesting. Be funny. Be impressive. The problem is that impressing communicates need. It says your value depends on her response. Pulling does the opposite. It communicates self-trust. You are centered, selective, and complete, with or without outcome. Here's the psychological shift. Impressing asks her to evaluate you. Pulling invites her to feel you. Evaluation is logical and cold. Feeling is embodied and warm. Attraction lives in feel, not assessment. Stoic discipline explains why this works. Epictetus said that freedom begins when you stop needing external approval. When you release the need to be validated, your behavior slows, your voice steadies, and your attention becomes selective. Those signals are read instantly. Impressing floods the moment with information. Pulling creates space. Space lets her project curiosity, imagination, and desire. When there is less noise, sensation rises. When you stop filling every silence, tension appears naturally. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a man should be content to be, not to seem. That principle changes everything in dating. When you stop trying to seem impressive, you stop leaking urgency. Urgency kills attraction. Calm builds it. Pulling is not indifference. It is interest without attachment. You listen fully, but you do not chase momentum. You respond thoughtfully, not reflexively. You share, but you don't overshare. This balance creates contrast. Contrast creates focus. Another Stoic insight matters here. Seneca warned that those who strive to be admired often lose themselves. Pulling keeps you anchored. You act from values, not appetite. That consistency reads as strength. Here's how pulling shows up practically. You don't stack compliments. You let one land. You don't extend conversations to avoid endings. You end cleanly. You don't rush to clarify uncertainty. You allow it to exist. Each choice says the same thing. I'm grounded. Most men fear that if they stop impressing, interest will fade. The opposite happens. Interest sharpens because she has room to lean in. Pulling flips the dynamic. She begins investing attention to understand you. That investment creates desire. This is not a trick, it's alignment. When your actions match your inner stability, attraction feels safe and exciting at the same time. Safety without boredom, tension without chaos. Pulling also protects you. It keeps you from over-investing early. You watch behavior instead of chasing promises. You allow time to reveal intent. That patience is rare. Rare is attractive. If you're wondering when to switch from impressing to pulling, the answer is now. Stop auditioning. Start selecting. Selection changes posture. Posture changes energy. Energy changes outcomes. Here's the rule to remember. Impressing tries to win. Pulling allows choice. Choice creates respect. Respect fuels attraction. If this clicks drop, I don't audition in the comments. Stay with me because next we'll break down stillness and why doing less creates more pull than effort ever could. Number 3. Stillness that makes her curious. Folks, stillness is not passivity. Let's be real. It is control without force. When you stop filling space with movement, words and reassurance, curiosity wakes up. Stillness creates contrast. Contrast creates attention. Tension creates desire. Most men think attraction comes from doing more. More talking, more texting, more explaining. Stillness does the opposite. It removes excess and leaves a clean signal. When you are comfortable not reacting, her mind starts leaning forward to understand you. Here is a real situation. Daniel is 56, an operations director in Texas. He meets Karen, 50, a divorced real estate broker. Daniel is interested, but he does not rush. During conversations, he pauses before answering. He holds eye contact. He listens fully, then speaks briefly. He does not chase momentum. Karen notices immediately. She finds herself talking more. She fills silences. She wonders what Daniel is thinking. His stillness feels grounding but also slightly unsettling. That combination sparks curiosity. Stillness works because it shifts effort. Instead of you working to impress, she works to interpret. Interpretation requires investment. Investment creates attachment. When you remove noise, her imagination turns on. Daniel never explains his silence. He does not justify pauses. He does not apologize for calm. That steadiness communicates self-trust. Karen begins checking his availability, not because he disappeared, but because he did not overgive. This is where Stoic discipline quietly shows. You focus on what you control, your pace, your breath, your reactions. You do not chase outcomes. You allow moments to breathe. That restraint reads as maturity. Stillness also filters intent. If a woman is only interested in attention, stillness bores her. If she is interested in presence, stillness pulls her closer. Either outcome gives you clarity without effort. Karen starts initiating contact. Not with questions, but with observations. She shares small details. She mirrors Daniel's calm. That mirroring is not accidental. People sync with states they find compelling. Here is the key mistake men make. They break stillness to relieve their own discomfort. They rush to fill gaps. They talk to avoid tension. By doing that, they remove the very thing creating interest. Daniel does the opposite. He ends conversations cleanly. He leaves before energy fades. He does not linger. Karen notices that endings feel intentional, not abrupt. She thinks about him after. Stillness creates space for memory. When moments are not over-explained, they replay. Curiosity feeds on incomplete loops. The mind wants to return. There is also a sexual undertone here. Calm confidence lowers defenses while heightening awareness. When your body is relaxed and your movements are deliberate, her body responds. Desire starts as nervous system alignment. Daniel's stillness becomes his signature. Karen associates him with calm nights, focused attention, and controlled energy. That association is powerful. If you want to practice this, slow your responses. Let silence exist. Speak when you have something to say. End on your terms. Watch what happens. Stillness is a choice you repeat. Each interaction is a chance to lead with composure instead of urgency. When you trust yourself, curiosity grows naturally. When you rush, it collapses. Practice patience in small moments daily, and the effect compounds quietly until attraction feels effortless rather than forced over time, for men who stay grounded and choose calm consistently. If this resonates, comment "I stay still." Stick with me, because next we will break down how calm becomes atmosphere and how atmosphere makes her feel pulled without words. 4. Becoming the calm she feels. Folks, calm is not something you perform. Let's be real. Calm is something you transmit. When you walk into a space grounded, unrushed, and internally ordered, people feel it before they understand it. For women, that felt calm is one of the strongest attraction triggers because it signals safety and strength at the same time. Most men confuse calm with being quiet or passive. That's not it. Calm is emotional leadership. It is the ability to remain steady regardless of outcome. When you are calm, you are not reacting to her moods, testing her interest, or adjusting yourself to be liked. You are simply present in your own frame. Female psychology responds to this deeply. A calm man lowers her nervous system while increasing her awareness. Her body relaxes, but her attention sharpens. That combination creates trust with tension, which is the foundation of attraction. Stoicism explains this clearly. Epictetus taught that the man who governs himself is unconquerable. When you are not internally shaken, you stop seeking external reassurance. That lack of need is felt as emotional stability, and emotional stability feels rare. Calm also changes how time feels around you. Conversations slow down. Silences feel comfortable instead of awkward. She feels space to breathe, think, and feel. When a woman associates you with emotional relief, she begins seeking your presence without being consciously aware of why. Here is where most men break it. They feel calm at first, then they try to lock it in. They overtext, they overexplain, they rush closeness. Calm collapses the moment you try to control outcomes. Calm only works when it is real. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that tranquility comes from directing the mind toward what is within control and releasing everything else. When you live that principle, your behavior naturally slows. You do not chase clarity. You allow it to reveal itself. Becoming the calm she feels means you stop outsourcing your emotional regulation. You do not use her reactions to decide your worth. You show interest without attachment. You lead with presence instead of pressure. Another Stoic insight from Seneca fits perfectly here. He wrote that the man who is content with himself is complete. Completion is attractive because it removes urgency. Urgency creates friction. Calm removes it. When she feels calm around you, she opens. Not always verbally, but emotionally. Her body language softens. Her tone changes. She lingers longer. These are signals of trust forming. Calm also filters intent. Women who seek chaos will feel bored. Women who value depth will feel pulled in. Either response gives you clarity without effort. This is why Sigma presence is quiet. You do not announce dominance. You demonstrate self-possession. You let consistency do the talking. If you want to deepen this skill and apply it across attraction, confidence, and life discipline, consider joining the channel as a member. That is where I share advanced Stoic frameworks and practical exercises that help you embody this calm daily, not just understand it. If this resonates, comment "I stay grounded." Stay with me because next we'll break down scarcity and why doing less access raises your value without games, pressure, or manipulation. Number 5. Scarcity that raises your value. Folks, scarcity is not disappearing or playing games. Let's be real. Scarcity is simply having a life that does not revolve around one person. When access to you is limited by purpose, priorities, and self-respect, your value rises naturally without effort or manipulation. Most men confuse scarcity with silence. Silence without substance feels empty. Real scarcity is structural. It comes from work routines, standards, and commitments that already existed before her. When you are genuinely busy, present when you choose to be, and unavailable when it matters to you, attraction adjusts. Here's a real situation. Michael is 58, a commercial property consultant in San Diego. He meets Denise, 52, a divorced interior designer. Michael enjoys her company, but his schedule stays intact. Early mornings at the gym, client meetings. Evenings he protects for himself. He does not cancel plans to be available on demand. Denise notices quickly. At first she assumes Michael will adjust. When he doesn't, something shifts. She becomes more aware of timing. She suggests dates instead of waiting. She follows up when he goes quiet. Not because he withdrew, but because his availability feels valuable. Scarcity works because it reframes access. When you are always available, your presence feels unlimited. Unlimited things are taken for granted. When your presence has boundaries, it gains weight. Michael does not announce his scarcity. He doesn't say he is busy to appear important. He simply lives. Denise feels the contrast. Time with him feels intentional, not casual. Here's the key psychological point. Scarcity triggers evaluation. The mind asks, why is access limited? Is it because he has options? Is it because he values his time? That evaluation raises perceived value automatically. Most men sabotage scarcity by explaining it. They over-justify. They apologize for being busy. That behavior collapses the effect. Scarcity only works when it is calm and unapologetic. Michael never apologizes for having plans. He offers alternatives. He sets dates clearly. He ends evenings cleanly. Denise begins planning ahead. Her effort increases because access feels earned, not guaranteed. Scarcity also protects you. It keeps you from over-investing early. You don't flood the connection with time and attention before interest is proven. You let behavior reveal intent. Another layer matters. Scarcity feels different from distance. Distance feels cold. Scarcity feels selective. Selectivity is attractive because it signals standards. Denise starts dressing differently for dates. She shows up on time. She engages more deeply. None of this was requested. It emerged in response to structure. This is why scarcity must be rooted in self-respect. If you fake it, it feels hollow. If you live it, it feels solid. Here's the discipline. Decide what your time is for. Protect it. Share it intentionally. Do not negotiate your priorities to be liked. When you respect your time, others do too. Michael's scarcity never feels punitive. It feels consistent. Denise senses stability. Stability plus limited access creates desire. Scarcity is not about withholding. It's about having something worth protecting. When your life is full, access to you becomes valuable by default. If this resonates, comment, I value my time. Stay with me, because next we'll break down silence and how it builds sexual tension without a single extra word spoken. Number 6. Silence that builds sexual tension. Folks, silence is not the absence of interest. Let's be real. Silence is the presence of control. When you stop filling every gap with words, reassurance, or explanation, tension begins to form naturally. Sexual tension is not created by saying more. It is created by holding back without disconnecting. Most men talk themselves out of attraction. They explain what they feel. They clarify intentions too early. They check in to reduce uncertainty. That behavior feels safe to the man, but it kills tension. Tension requires unanswered space. Silence works because it removes certainty. When everything is known, the nervous system relaxes and shuts down curiosity. When something is felt but not defined, the body stays alert. That alertness is the foundation of desire. Stoic philosophy understood this long before modern psychology. Epictetus taught that the man who can govern his impulses governs situations. Silence is impulse control made visible. You resist the urge to react, to chase, to soothe. That restraint communicates strength without words. Sexual tension is not aggressive, it is contained. It lives in pauses, eye contact and timing. Silence allows those signals to breathe. When you are quiet but present, her awareness sharpens. She notices tone, posture, proximity. Her body starts reading you instead of listening to you. Most men fear silence because it feels like loss of control. In reality, the return of control. When you stop managing her reactions, she starts managing her curiosity. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that strength often looks like stillness. When you do not rush to fill space, you signal that you are not dependent on response. That independence creates polarity. Polarity fuels attraction. Silence also filters intent. If interest is shallow, silence ends it quickly. If interest is real, silence intensifies it. Either outcome saves you time and energy. Silence that builds tension is warm, not cold. You are not withdrawing emotionally. You are simply not overperforming. Your presence is steady. Your attention is focused. Your words are intentional. When you speak less, what you do say carries more weight. When you touch less, awareness of touch increases. When you move slower, sensation deepens. Silence amplifies everything else. Another Stoic insight from Seneca fits perfectly here. He wrote that desire grows when it is delayed, not denied. Silence delays resolution. That delay stretches desire instead of killing it. This is why men who rush intimacy often feel ignored later. They collapse tension too early. Silence keeps tension alive without force. Silence also protects you from over-investing. You do not reveal everything before trust forms. You allow her to meet you, step by step. That pacing builds anticipation. Here is how to use silence correctly. Pause before responding. Let moments end naturally. Do not explain feelings you have not seen returned. Allow her to lean in first. None of this is manipulation. It is discipline. Sexual tension thrives when you are comfortable not being understood immediately. Mystery is not deception. It is patience. Silence also reveals confidence. A man who trusts himself does not need to narrate his value. He lets consistency speak. Words create comfort. Silence creates desire. You need both, but at the right time. If this resonates, comment "I stay silent." Stay with me, because next we will break down mystery and why what she cannot fully read often feels more masculine than anything you could explain. Number 7. Why mystery feels masculine. Folks, mystery feels masculine because it signals self-possession. Let's be real. A man who reveals everything too quickly communicates hunger for approval. A man who leaves space communicates confidence in his own gravity. Mystery is not secrecy. It is restraint paired with direction. Most men overshare early. They explain intentions, narrate feelings, and try to remove uncertainty. That impulse feels honest, but it collapses attraction. When everything is known, curiosity dies. Mystery keeps attention alive because it invites discovery instead of demanding validation. Here is a real situation. Paul is 57, a senior compliance officer in Boston. He meets Elaine, 51, a divorced marketing consultant. Paul is warm and present, but he does not disclose his entire story. He answers clearly, then pauses. He shares selectively. He does not rush intimacy with words. Elaine notices. She finds herself asking questions Paul does not immediately answer. She thinks about him between conversations. His calm makes her feel safe, but his restraint makes her curious. That balance is masculine. Mystery works because it flips effort. Instead of you trying to be understood, she invests attention to understand you. That investment creates attachment. Attachment grows when effort is voluntary. Paul never withholds to manipulate. He simply does not over-explain. He lets time reveal layers. Elaine senses depth instead of performance. Depth feels rare. Rare feels valuable. Mystery also protects you. When you reveal everything at once, you attach too quickly. Mystery allows pacing. Pacing lets trust form before vulnerability. That sequence matters. Elaine begins leaning in physically during conversations. Her tone softens. She mirrors Paul's calm. None of this is forced. It emerges because his presence invites curiosity without pressure. Here is the mistake men make. They confuse mystery with distance. Distance feels cold. Mystery feels warm but incomplete. Paul stays engaged. He listens fully. He just does not rush to fill every gap. Mystery also signals options. Not artificial options, internal options. A man with mystery is not chasing certainty. He is comfortable not being fully known yet. That comfort reads as strength. Paul ends evenings cleanly. He leaves while energy is high. Elaine notices the endings more than the beginnings. Endings shape memory. Mystery lives there. Another layer matters. Mystery filters intent. Women who seek attention lose interest. Women who seek presence feel drawn in. Either way, mystery saves you time. Elaine eventually asks more direct questions. Paul answers honestly but briefly. He does not overshare. She respects that boundary. Respect deepens attraction. This is where masculine polarity forms. You are open without being exposed, interested without being attached, grounded without being rigid. Mystery is not about hiding flaws. It is about revealing yourself through consistency, not confession. Your actions speak over time. Time is the ally of mystery. Here is how to practice this. Share stories, not just facts. Pause before responding. Let silences exist. End conversations intentionally. Allow curiosity to breathe. If you feel the urge to explain, slow down. Ask yourself if clarity is needed or if discomfort is driving you. Choose restraint. Mystery makes you memorable. It invites imagination. Imagination fuels desire. If this resonates, comment, I keep